Hello, Wake Up New Zealand, Carol Sahi speaking. Co-governance. Is it co-governance or is it more than this? Because through my research, I've found there's been a number of HUIs, workshops, around the United Nations Indigenous Peoples' Rights, the UNDRIP. Now, last year in November, there was a meeting at Auckland University. Nania Mahuta spoke there, and this was called the Korero Constitution, where overseas visitors gathered and they spoke about the UNDRIP and the planning of it into New Zealand, how they could advance that. Now, this has been on the agenda for some time. So they call this Vision 2040. So the government have been involved in this, but they're not speaking about it. And so has Willie Jackson. He's been a key player. The National Iwi Group and the Freshwater Iwi Forum and other iwi. So this is not all of Maori. Most Maori don't even know about this, as most people in New Zealand do not know about this. So let's go back to 2007, when Rosemary Banks, the UN representative for New Zealand, was in the UN Assembly, and she gave a speech as to why the Labour Party representing New Zealand actually rejected the UNDRIP, and she spoke about 4 provisions which reflected the entire country of New Zealand coming under in Article 26, 28, 19 and 32 of the Declaration, which meant that under compensation and redress in the Declaration, this would mean that Indigenous people would own the whole entire country of New Zealand, and compensation would have to be paid for that. That was too difficult because the country is now legally, and was legally, purchased by Indigenous people in New Zealand. So that was too difficult. So that could not be agreed upon. Also, the Indigenous people would have veto rights over the legislative of Parliament, that there would be 2 classes of citizenship. And she spoke about the democratic process in New Zealand, that this was undemocratic. It did not fit our constitution, the Treaty of Waitangi, and she said that the Treaty of Waitangi 1840 actually did redress compensation for lands, and it was working very well. So these were the reasons she gave, and she also said that Indigenous people would have control of resource management in New Zealand. Now we see what's going on with resource management and the change of the Resource Management Act 1991 right now, or is it 1993 right now, where they're about to introduce 3 new legislations, and also that of these central planning committees. So big changes there. How does that relate to the UNDRIP? So moving on now to 2010, when John Key secretly sent Peter Sharple, co-leader of the Maori Party, off to the UN Assembly to ratify the UNDRIP. He did it secretly. He knew there would be repercussions around this, but nevertheless, he went ahead and he did it. And since then, well, it's been advancing. We had He Puapua, we've had HUIs, we've had workshops around the UNDRIP, and as I said last year, the convention at Auckland University as to a new constitution in New Zealand. But if you go back to a speech given by Maya in 2007 at the Beehive, he told the Maori Party to get their heads out the clouds and to do something useful. This was the 15th of September 2007, and he spoke about the people, the New Zealand Maori Party, and how they had been working with the UN as to planning the UNDRIP. He spoke about two classes of people. He actually confirmed everything that Rosemary Banks had said at the UN. So he was totally opposed to that. So I'm just pointing out people. So obviously they haven't given up on this, and it's still going on behind the scenes. And this is what you're seeing now. So wake up, people. Is this more than co-governance? Will this give Indigenous peoples, so-called Maori, the veto rights over the parliamentary legislature? What about the ownership of lands, and what about the Resource Management Act? When you see everything that's going on now, what aren't they telling you? What are these political cronies in the toilet bowl of Wellington not telling you? They're not telling you a lot, and there's a lot more to be told. Wake up, New Zealand.